morning, everybody, and thank you for your patience while we're trying to get our slides here on the projector to start. My name is Dora Karali, and I'm in the product management team for security services, including Guard Duty, Detective, Security Hub, and Security Lake. What we're going to present today is an embargo session. The title was just announced a few minutes ago, Accelerate Security Analytics Across Hybrid Environments with AWS. With me today, I'd like to introduce you my two co-presenters, Abi Khanna.
Hey folks, I'm Abi Khanna. I'm a PM on the OpenSearch service, and I've been at Amazon for around 4 years. With me is Ross.
Ross Warren, Product SA on the Security Lake team. In January will be my 6th year at Amazon.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Abi. Okay, so what we're going to present today is the challenges we hear from our customers when it comes to analyzing their security data. And then we'll dive right in the new integration that we're announcing today, the zero ETL integration between Amazon OpenSearch service and Amazon Security Lake. For those of you who are not familiar with these services, I'm going to do a quick overview of the Amazon Security Lake, and then I'll pass it on to Abi to give you an overview of the Amazon OpenSearch service and give you more information about the features that come with the zero ETL integration. And last but not least, our favorite Ross is going to give you a demo of how it all comes together and how it works. So let's get started. So when we talk to customers and their security teams trying to run security analytics projects, the first challenge we hear is that first I need to get the data. It's very complex to collect data from multiple sources and different environments, whether it is AWS or other clouds and on-prem. And the data continuously grows. So it's ever-changing set of data sources that they have to make sure that they bring in and so they collect to analyze. Just from AWS, customers want to collect data like VPC flow logs, WAF, CloudTrail, security findings from various security services like Guard Duty and Security Hub. And if you want to consider that they want all this data, the security teams in the central place across all regions, collecting this data across all regions and across all accounts is becoming very complex with all the permissions and the different locations where this data reside. The next challenge is logs and alerts have different formats. So in order to be able to analyze the data, you really need to go and understand the format for every single data source. So you can basically build something meaningful, to do some meaningful analysis out of it. So this is also very complex, because as you bring in new data, again, you have to learn the new format, understand it. It's becoming very time-consuming. Okay, so let's say that I have all my data normalized into one format. I have all my data into a central place. Now I need to bring this data into my analytics tool. And to do that, I need to create a data pipeline. So what this means is that I have to extract the fields that I need, transform them into a way that my analytics tool can use, and then load them into some form of index so I can do quick analysis. So this process is called extract, transform, and load, ETL. And again, it needs data analytics knowledge. It takes time and effort and skill to be able to build these data pipelines. So the other challenge with the data pipelines is that as the data grows, ingesting all your data into the analytics tool becomes very expensive. Customers are telling us we often need to make a trade-off. Am I going to bring this data into my analytics tool? How much will it cost me? Am I within budget? Or should I just not bring this data in? And in this case, if they decide not to bring the data into the analytics tool, this means that they lose visibility. They cannot use this data to protect their environment and use it to understand their security posture. So it is a balance today that is happening between being cost efficient and staying within budget and being able to access your data for visibility. So customers that are found in these scenarios often end up using multiple tools. They may say, okay, I will bring my real-time data, my high-quality data into one tool so I can do all the analysis and real-time critical processing in one tool. And then I have a backup option for other data that I would use. So we had customers often using Athena to access data that they keep into S3 buckets and lakes. And then they use another tool like QuickSight to do visualizations. So again, all this requires training training on multiple tools and often development skills. So what this all means is that security teams need to initiate complex data analytics projects to get to what they need to do, to get to the security jobs. And what this means is that they need to spend significant time on data management, which reduces the time to work on security operations and addressing security issues. So today, we are announcing the Amazon OpenSearch service zero ETL integration with Amazon Security Lake. And with that, you can gain immediate security insights out of your data residing in Security Lake. You don't need to create data pipelines. You can do in-place search from the Amazon OpenSearch service. And at the same time, you have the option with on-demand indexing to ingest the data set of your choice, depending on your use case, into Amazon OpenSearch to use its powerful analytics capabilities. So this means you are reducing the amount of data that you are ingesting, which may lead to reduced costs as well. So we talked about the challenges. Let's see how the zero ETL integration between the Amazon OpenSearch service and Amazon Security Lake can help you. So regarding data collection, Security Lake simplifies the centralization of data across AWS. With just a few clicks, you can enable multiple log sources across your accounts and regions. And it also allows you to bring third-party data as well. So very simple and very quickly, you can have a central place where you can collect all your data. Then Security Lake normalizes data into the open cybersecurity schema Open Cybersecurity Schema Framework, which prepares data for, so this is an open standard, which I'm going to talk to you a little more in a second. And the other thing Security Lake does is it prepares your data for efficient storage and query access. So when you're ready to query your data, they're already optimized for faster query times. Now, with the zero ETL integration, you don't need to set up pipelines. It's very easy to set up a data connection between Security Lake and the Amazon OpenSearch service, and Ross is going to show you how in a little bit. But once this connection is done, then you can directly access your Security Lake data from Amazon OpenSearch service, and no data pipelines are needed. You're querying in place without moving any data. There's no data duplication happening. So what this means is that since you're querying your data in place, you get full visibility into all the data you're storing into your lake. So with in-place queries in OpenSearch, you can basically reduce the amount of data that you need to bring in OpenSearch, and that means less compute and hence less costs. And you can do that using on-demand indexing right where you write your queries. You can select whether you want to bring the results into OpenSearch or not. Very simple experience in deciding what to index and when. So now with Amazon OpenSearch Service, you have a single tool that you can use for real-time and historical analysis. And we wanted to make it simple for customers to come up to speed. So with this integration, we're also bringing in pre-built queries and pre-built dashboards that you can use to get security value out of your data, explore and get insights right after you establish the connection. And that can bring you up and running very, very quickly. Of course, you can always tune the queries and the dashboards that are provided, or you can create your own. Amazon OpenSearch Service has very powerful analytics, and David is going to give you more information about that in a second. So what this all means? So now you spend less time on managing your data. You don't need to set up pipelines. You don't need to do any ETLing, no data preparation. And you can really focus on your security operations. You can really focus on addressing security issues. So we touched upon some of the capabilities for Amazon Security Lake. It's very easy to centralize your security data. It's automatically bringing various log sources from AWS into a purpose-built security data lake, and helps you optimize for your use cases. What we didn't mention earlier was that you own your data. When we started the project, when we started the service for Amazon Security Lake, we talked to customers and we heard that it was a challenge. They felt that their data is tied to their analytics tools and they couldn't use them for other purposes. They were tied to the capabilities that specific tool had, and the data and the analytics were very coupled together. So our goal was to democratize the security data and give you control of your data. So with Security Lake, you have the option to use any analytics tool of your choice or multiple of them, and you retain control of and ownership of your logs and your events. I also want to point out the normalization capabilities that are available in Security Lake. Security Lake normalizes data into the Open Cybersecurity Schema Framework. So for those of you that are not familiar with OCSF, it's an open standard that is adopted widely, has seen a lot of growth and adoption in the industry. It has over 900 contributors and 200 participating organizations, large security vendors, government, education, and enterprises, all working together to create the OCSF schema. And there is a lot of effort behind this because there are real benefits that customers can see out of a security schema that is an open standard. It will help, it helps deliver a vendor-agnostic taxonomy for your security data. So this means that you can speed how you ingest data and analyze them without any transformation costs and normalization tasks on your side. So with OCSF, you can basically have, since it's a vendor-agnostic taxonomy, you can basically create your analytics and run it and use it across multiple data sources, across multiple vendors, across multiple environments. So a couple of weeks ago, OCSF became part of the Linux Foundation. So this, we believe, will continue the growth and the adoption for the standard. It will also allow contributors to collaborate faster and in a more, under the stronger governance model that Linux Foundation offers. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Abi to give you more details on the Amazon OpenSearch service.
Thank you so much, Dora. The Amazon OpenSearch service is a leading search and log analytics solution that helps customers get the most out of their data. This is the AWS managed solution for the open source OpenSearch project, which has also recently been donated to the Linux Foundation. It offers advanced analytical capabilities such as alerting, visualization, dashboarding, anomaly detection, and security analytics. It also allows customers to securely, easily, and efficiently store and analyze business, security, operational data, complete with key integrations, such as that with Amazon Security Lake, in a cost-conscious way. Dora earlier presented the zero ETL integration with the Amazon Security Lake. We're going to walk through some of the key features, and then we'll dive into it in a little bit more detail. With the zero ETL integration for Amazon Security Lake, we enable customers to query and analyze their security data in Amazon Security Lake without needing to duplicate the data between different tools or building and maintaining custom data pipelines. It's easy to set up. You have the ability to in-place query that Security Lake data without dual ingesting. Provides on-demand indexing for repetitive queries to make sure that they can be executed as quickly as possible. And you get pre-built queries and dashboards to make sure that it's easy to get started and easy to dive into the data that you have. Let's dive into the simple setup. All you have to do is create a subscriber in Amazon Security Lake, followed by a data source for Security Lake in the Amazon OpenSearch service. And this will automatically create all the dependent resources, such as the serverless collection and any required indices and dashboards that come out of the box. It also creates an OpenSearch UI dedicated workspace tailored for your security use cases. With this launch of this OpenSearch UI that we also recently launched, you're able to pull in other data sources such as CloudWatch logs, alongside your OpenSearch service data so you can see everything end to end in one place. With in-place querying of Security Lake data, you can directly query that data without having to ingest it into two places at once. This gives you the ability to see that data alongside all of your application logs and other logs you might have in OpenSearch. Thanks to the Apache Iceberg format, we get faster query times out of the box, giving you immediate access to that data quickly and efficiently. And finally, you can use SQL as well as the pipe processing language analytical tools that OpenSearch provides to query your data across tables using the OCSF schema format as a standardized layer to make it easy to access and write queries. With on-demand indexing, you don't have to worry about slow query times over time. If there's something that you want quickly, repetitively accessed, you can create an on-demand index. For example, if you're doing a security investigation for a guard duty finding on an EC2 instance and want to access and analyze the VPC flow logs for that EC2 instance in a specific time frame, you can do a direct query to Security Lake, ingest the results, store it in an index view, and all subsequent queries will run in millisecond speeds, which gives you great, fast access to this data for visualizations, alerting, etc. With pre-built queries and dashboards, you get out-of-the-box insights about this data without having to set anything up. You have 200+ pre-built queries, dashboards for VPC flow logs, WAF logs, and AWS CloudTrail management events. We've been so lucky to partner with so many great customers like yourselves through our beta program. Behind me, you can see what Derek Bush, Vice President of Cloud Security at Infor, had to say about this integration. I'll leave it up here for a second before we transition to a demo. With that, I'd like to invite Ross to the stage to go to a demo.
I don't need the clicker. And we're up on the screen. Okay, good. Just quickly before I start, a lot of work was put into making those last couple slides that Abhi talked about, how easy it is to actually do this. We all know there's multiple different ways to get data into OpenSearch. And in fact, I wrote a blog with Kevin Fallis a couple years ago. I think when you see this, this is going to be your default ingestion, your default way to use Security Lake data in OpenSearch, because I've got those dashboards, I've got those queries, I've got those indexing. We're going to walk through a demo. I'm going to slightly touch on the setup, but it is literally so easy. The slides he had a couple minutes ago is a couple clicks at the most. We're going to show you some dashboards. We're going to poke around the dashboards a little bit. And then we're going to go into that direct query, look at some of those templates. How do we use those templates? And then the last little bit, we're going to actually build an index for that millisecond query time manually based on a query on VPC flow. So that's kind of what we're going to see. And it is a recorded demo, so we will continue to talk over it. Sorry about that. It was a little too quick. So we now see, launched yesterday, we see the connected data sources in the OpenSearch console now. And that was sort of the second step that you need to do for OpenSearch to move forward. I've already got my Security Lake demo built there, but let's just take a look quickly at what it looks like and what fields you need to fill out. We've got the shiny new Security Lake icon there for us. Nicely, we give you some instructions on how easy it is. 3 steps, basically, to get there. And you've got to fill out some information. What am I going to name the connection? Do I want to use a new role? Do I want to use a role create a new role, use a role we have? The glue database from that Security Lake subscriber will then be populated there. And you just hit next, and we've now got a connection. You dive into the OpenSearch Service Console. This is where those dashboards are configured. I've got one there, but let's just take a look how easy it is to actually create a dashboard. Remember, we talked about the content. We've got Flow, WAF logs, and CloudTrail. Again, I just need to name it. I'm going to choose, again, that Security Lake database that gets populated when I create the subscriber. how often do I want to refresh that database, that dashboard or the index that's being built? And then Abhi talked about the new workspace concept, and so you've got to kind of put that dashboard into an OpenSearch workspace that's tailored to this environment. So I already built 3 of them. We'll get to them in just a minute. We're going to go and look at them and see what the dashboards look like. Come on, one more time. Okay, I do want to pause there. We've got dashboards. We're going to look at the dashboards. I didn't do any ETL, right? If you look at the title of this is zero ETL. I've done nothing. I've done no pipelines. I've done no bad JavaScript. I've done nothing else to get data here. I've made a dashboard, made that connection, and now we're going to, I created the dashboard. Now we're just going to look at the data and see what we've got. We've got the 3 and then the extra one that I created. Everybody's favorite, we'll take a look at CloudTrail first. We're going to come back to the CloudTrail dashboard after this, but let's take a look at the CloudTrail dashboard. Again, I did nothing here. The simplicity of this is absolutely amazing. This is the new UI for dashboards in OpenSearch that was launched last week, 2 weeks ago. I'm showing a little bit of the filters and how to drive stuff down. You've got your really nice time picker up top. Can see my regions. I can see what services are doing those CloudTrail API calls. And I've got a bunch of good data here. As I said, I'm going to get back to that in a minute. I think I poke at SSM. Just as an investigation, who in my account is doing some SSM calls. And we see a really high load IP address, wow. But this new dashboard experience allows me to now focus on that spike, right? We're security investigators, I want to focus on that spike. And so if you can squint and see my event APIs on the side, look not suspicious, but look like someone's trying to gather some information or do something. And so we may want to investigate that a little bit. Let's pivot over to the VPC flow dashboard now. And this is off my security lake, so you see there's actually quite a lot of volume there. 10 million plus rows over the last, over the last 24 hours. And again, this is that new interface where we've got the really nice time picker. I can filter on IP addresses. I can look at either source or destination. And everything here is interactive. I can click on things. These are all out of the box. Again, you can create your own, but these are great starting places that we wanted to show folks to get them going very, very quickly.
Ross, one thing to add here is that you don't need to bring all your data in. The data stays in Security Lake, and what we bring into Amazon OpenSearch is only what is needed to power these dashboards. So before you had to really get all the data in, before you're able to do these visualizations, now you're only ingesting what is needed behind the scenes to power these dashboards. Sorry.
No, that's a very good point. Right now, when I set up those dashboards, it did bring in some data for a certain period of time, and that's how these dashboards are driven. And we'll poke at that a little bit in a minute, and we'll get into the direct query also in a minute. But good point, Dora. It's quick because I've actually brought some data in. It's not old school method of lift and shift everything into my OpenSearch, and then maybe I can start doing some analytics. We made this really, really easy for folks to take a look at. And just looking a little bit more at the VPC flow dashboard, showing that we can click into things and maybe dead end. So as security investigators, we get to dead ends all the time, and so we want to pivot somewhere else. Let's take a look at the WAF dashboard. This demo count does not have a lot of WAF activity, and so we'll see a little bit of activity, but again, this is out of the box. I can filter on my web ACLs, I can filter on my regions, any client IP addresses that I want to take a look at, and my time picker up top, of course. That geo database map will update in just a minute. But look, why do I have this high IP address that's doing a lot of things? Let's take a look back up top, and where's it actually coming from? It's coming from Germany. Do I have normal traffic out of there? I may want to investigate a little bit more. And see, I ran back and now I can actually see all the places, geo-IP, of where those clients were coming from. Now, we're going to dive into some direct queries. And while that's loading up, the first interface here, remember I said, and Dora said, that when we build those dashboards, we're bringing some data in to populate the indexes for the dashboard. You have that available also in this Discover interface. So the data that's been brought in, I can now query, I can now do the normal OpenSearch things against this data. And I think I do in this. Right, we want to go over and hover. Did it start? Yep. Want to go over and hover and see what are my IP addresses in this load. I've got them now. I can add them to my query, filter down, they get highlighted. My graph up top updates in milliseconds. That was so quick. Those are the indexes that we're building when we build those dashboards for you. But now, the exciting part, everybody's excited, right, for direct query? We're going to now go take a look at some Security Hub findings. We're going to go query the data directly in OpenSearch and see what it looks like, and then we're going to perform a little bit of an investigation. So in this interface, I'm going to go tell that I'm going to use the Security Hub database or log, table, sorry. And as you can see, it's taken a second to run. Whenever you, for now, whenever you go into a new data source, it does a couple hours of query. If you can quickly see what the time field there is, it's a couple hours, so that I get that data loaded in so I can start looking at it. This is doing a direct query against Security Lake. And it's about 30 seconds. I think it ends up being 31 seconds, 32 seconds. I now have data directly queried from Security Lake. Didn't move any of the data. I brought that in very, very quick and easy. And I've got the really nice interface that I can look at all of the fields that came in. I can start exploring that. Again, I've got the picker on the side for what other fields or what fields make up the data that's been brought in. I think I was just poking at a couple more things here. What we're now going to do is take a look at those templated queries that Dora talked about. Not only were we providing you out-of-the-box dashboards, but a lot of hard work has been given to the 200 plus queries that you can now use to start your investigations. And if you see on the screen, I'm taking a look at all of them. I'm going to filter down a little bit on Security Hub in just a minute because we're talking about Security Hub. Really great explanations, titles, and we're going to now look at one of them, one of the Security Hub ones, so I'll show you what it looks like. We'll find one that looks interesting. I think I'm going to poke at a CVE one. No, findings broke down. So I'm going to pause there for a second so you can take a look. Well-formatted query, very, very easy to understand what you need to replace. Right, this is for your environment. So we've given you a template, and now you need to replace account ID, region, and number of days you want to query. Right, it's very, very simple to take that. There's a copy button, I'll show you in a minute, and we move it over, replace the values, and then we run it, again, a direct query against the data in Security Lake so we can start taking a look at what we've got. I forgot how long I paused on that, so I think I show one more, or I do show the CVE one. Yeah, since we're going to kind of do an investigation against the CVE, I showed you the CVE one there. There's two ways. I can hit the copy button on one side, or there's a a radio button on the other side. That copies the data, copies the query, which now I can edit to my environment and put it in there. Now I'm going really quick. We also have the ability to save queries, right? As a SOC person, as a SOC manager, I may want my folks to run a query every single day or every week. And so I have the ability to save those queries and make it easy for them to rerun those kind of queries. So what I did here was I took the CVE one, edited it to my environment into a specific CVE that I want to look for and see if it is in my environment at all. Surprise, it's going to be. So if I filter down just looking for SSRF, spelled correctly down the bottom, you can see, if I pause quickly, you can see that I edited to my environment, I edited to my environment, and the CVE we're looking for is going to be the Grafana server-side request forgery CVE that was out a couple years ago, and that has been fixed and patched. But it's something that I know there's teams running Grafana in this network, and so I want to make sure that they're patched, make sure regularly that CVE has been fixed or patched or remediated. That's the right word I'm looking for. We're going to take that. I just cut and pasted it into my query box, and now we're going to take and run that. While that's loading, remember this is all serverless. This is not managing your OpenSearch clusters. This is not figuring out what my loads need to be. This is all serverless on the back end. You didn't see me turn up an OpenSearch cluster at all. It was automatically there, automatically warmed up, and will scale back and forth to what we need. And so that is going to finish up, and you'll see that, surprise, I've got one hit for that CVE. So we're going to maybe want to get more information about that. Now, why is this account getting hit? Why have they not remediated this CVE in their account against their Grafana instance? So remember I said we're going to get back to the CloudTrail dashboard? So let's take that account number. And we could do some other queries here, but I kind of wanted to show you what moving back to the dashboard and the speed of that. So we're going to take that account, and we're going to go to CloudTrail. Okay, there we go. I'm going to clean up my filters from last time. And we're going to put that account ID into this CloudTrail dashboard and immediately see some results. And we've got a spike there. And so as an investigator, I want to focus on that time. And I want to, since the CVE could do some credential exfil, I focus on, what is IAM doing? What are my CloudTrail IAM calls happening with this CVE? And so I do see a bunch of stuff happening here. Sorry, now we're off on something else. Let me pause there. That was not a full investigation. I just wanted to show you doing a direct query and now bringing that to the dashboards and those indexes for the investigator to make a nice, quick determination that, hey, there's a spike. I know I need to now go focus on this. I should move forward with that. Definitely not a complete investigation. If there was a reinforced talk about that whole Grafana exploit, great talk using detective and finding groups to explore all that. If you want to look for it, hit me up and I'll tell you, but if you can find that. Great explanation on that whole thing. Now last, we're going to do a query against my VPC flow data, and then I'm going to build an index and show you now how fast the index is, right? Great that I can do direct query and not move the data, but what if there's a query that I want to run all the time, or I want to power a dashboard, I want to power an alert, and so let's figure out how to do that. Is it running? Yes. Okay, now we are. All right, so I came into the VPC flow data source like I did before, and so now that initial query is just going to run so that I know I've got data, doing direct query against Security Lake. And that takes a minute again. Again, OpenSearch serverless is wonderful, it's great. Don't have to think about that. And as that finishes up, I'm now going to create an index. If you can see right there, I've got create index view and use or select index view. This makes it so easy to figure out how to create index view. Before this, I couldn't figure it out myself. So this is a great wizard to help us do this. I'm going to remove that initial timestamp or time bound there in my query. And then I'm also going to remove the limit 10, right? I want that index to have more than 10 things in it so that I can do a really fast query. And then I'm going to use the time picker so that, let's do 3 weeks, last 3 weeks of data starting from yesterday. So we're going to do that. And this is actually live. I thought I had to slow it down, or speed it up, sorry. Create an index view. It does a direct query against Security Lake, starts bringing in that relevant data. I just did a star there, a select star, but if you wanted to do something specific, account IDs, instance IDs, source IPs, destination, you could craft just an index for those kind of queries that you wanted to do. And so as that finishes up, it says loading data into the index view. And remember, I just did a star. I didn't specifically do anything to try to make it as ugly as possible. I'm going to now use the index view. So that is the brand new index view that got built in that list. Just for fun, I'm going to remove the limit, or sorry, actually I'm going to make the limit 100 or 1,000. And you probably can't see, but that completes in 650 milliseconds. A select star in my VPC flow for the last couple weeks. And that abruptly ended very quickly. So hopefully you see that it was very, very easy to set up doing Security Lake. Like there was multiple 3-button clicks to get there. And then that data that is already populated for us is great starting, whether you're using the templated queries, you're saving queries, or using the indexes in those dashboards that you've got there. Again, I think this is the way that you should start using your Security Lake data in OpenSearch. And with that, Dora?
Thank you, Ross.
Oh, demo. More.
Okay, so kind of wrapping up here, I just want to summarize what Ross presented and what we discussed earlier. So with the zero ETL integration between Amazon OpenSearch Service and Security Lake, you can really simplify how you're doing security data analysis. And you can get comprehensive visibility. So any tables, any data that you have in Security Lake, you can access through the zero ETL integration, do in-place queries, and visualize your data, and all using the OCSF schema. You can use the same query across your different data sources thanks to the OCSF schema. And you can accelerate your security investigations. For data that you would otherwise wouldn't have visibility, you can now use the pre-built queries on OCSF to investigate data in Security Lake. And when you find data sets that you want to continuously iterate on and analyze, the data acceleration through on-demand index views can really help you get there without requiring you to ingest everything with no pipelines. And what this means is that you can optimize your performance, you can optimize for costs, and now you have flexible options to do so through the zero ETL integration. So you can learn more, and we just posted a What's New blog giving you more details about the integration and how to set it up, how to use the in-place queries and the on-demand indexing. And if you want to try it, Security Lake offers a 15-day trial at no cost. Similarly, the Amazon OpenSearch service has a monthly trial for a generous amount of OCUs. You can go to the pricing page for OpenSearch to find out more details there. And if you want to learn more about Amazon OpenSearch Serverless, here's the QR code. This integration is based on Amazon OpenSearch Serverless. You don't have to deploy and manage any clusters on your own. And this zero ETL integration is one of many other OpenSearch service integrations that are supported. Abhi mentioned CloudWatch, which is also, we just announced it here at reInvent to be able to bring in your application data into OpenSearch. There is also a zero ETL integration with S3. So you can scan that QR code and learn more about all the zero ETL integrations that Amazon OpenSearch Service offers. And save the date for, we have the Security Focus Conference, Reinforce, coming in June 16th to 18th. Thank you very much for being with us today, and have a great day. Enjoy reInvent.
Thanks, everybody.